Prof, I'm coming to you now. I think we talked about the $2.2 billion monies that was borrowed by the presidency. In record 48 hours, it was approved in both houses of the National Assembly. It appears that that money, according to the president, is to fund the deficit of the budget. The real issue now is how do we ensure, in terms of fiscal discipline, which is a big challenge, and I think Mr. Rewane highlighted in his presentation, fiscal discipline, and of course, ensuring budget compliance with tax policies, real time, using technology. How is this possible? What are your views regarding that?
Thank you, Vincent. Who is we? Is it me and you? Or who is we? Because that would determine how we answer the question as well.
Yes. We, by we, what I mean is that how does government, use technology to ensure that all of these issues around fiscal discipline are addressed real time, tax compliance, budgets, and all that stuff. Yeah.
Okay, technology is available to everybody, but it's now the intent around it. So we've talked a lot about transparency, opacity, we've talked a lot about governance, we've talked a lot about all these things. So I think you're making an assumption which we might have to test. Yeah. Do we want to use technology to drive effectiveness and productivity across our sectors and across our businesses? So because, for example, if they approved a $2.2 billion investment and loan without the evidence that says, oh, we've actually done better, then on what basis were they approving that loan? So I don't think it's a function of technology alone. I think it's also about the rationale around decision making. Bismarck mentioned about rational thinking beings, right? So we have to go back and really go to first principles and ask ourselves, are we rational thinking beings? Do we want change? And then, because if we do want change, technology is available. We're talking about, Bismarck talked about AI in everything, right? And there is AI in everything, and AI can help us do a lot more than we think we can do, because what does AI do? Patterns and trends. What a human eye cannot see, AI can help you see it and sort of connect the dots together. But then again, that means that we need data. Data means it needs to be digital. But if we're going back to analog, right, then it's going to take us a while to digitize that data, but that doesn't, we can still do it. Another thing that we need to think about is how do we get access to compute power? We have data centers in Nigeria, but none of them to date are actually certified as AI data centers, so there's a need to upgrade those areas. The last elephant in the room is talent. Do we have the skill talent to build and use these tools and resources? So I've been teaching technology at the business school for 22 years, and I went there to teach managers, because managers also they sort of toss it to the IT people, oh, it's your problem. But then again, it's a business problem, not an IT problem. And when I remind people that, when you study computer science, they don't teach you how to use a computer. So we all come out of school with the same amount of knowledge. So you're giving people your problem that don't understand the issue. So it's about how engaged are we in technology. So we're talking about digital first mindsets. Are we trying to build that even in private sector, talk less of even in government? So if we don't have a digital first mindset and saying, how do we use technology to solve our problems? It's not what you buy. And I'll give you an example. Look at private sector. Look at the pain we've gone through with some of the banks that have done their core banking application upgrades or switches, right? So it's just one of those things that technology will help, but technology needs effective talent to help us work through our problems. That's another area of dollar consumption, because we're buying foreign core banking applications, we're buying foreign professional services. Are we building the resources and the infrastructure to build and to sell in Naira? So for a small business, can I pay for data storage or a data center at 5,000 a month? And those are, for me, if we don't get to talking about those kinds of granular problems, we're trying to solve big problems, but we need to also look at how can we scale? Because everything we talk about in the world today is about scale. If we can't scale and you only have 10 customers, you're going to go bust very quickly, or you're going to have to increase your pricing to make things work. So it's all about how do we close our digital divides and make technology more accessible to more players, more industries, but it's all about each and every one of us also having a digital first mindset. And rather than, oh, let me do it on paper, right? Or let me do it on my phone, but how do we digitize our business flows, our value chains, and then transparency occurs automatically, right? So look at it today, your banker knows where you spend your money. They know your lifestyle habits, right? So, but when you're carrying Ghana must go, they don't know anything because cash is transferred. Cash is it's traceless. So it's just that those shifts. And if we think about it, so taxation, we're talking about budgeting and budget monitoring, where so we can see things real time. When the banking transition happened, right, legacy to new generation, it was all about real time transactions. And look at the ease of doing business when that happened. So how do we transmit that to the greater good and the public sector so it's win-win for everybody? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Yinka David West. The pension man, again, we have the informal sector, which according to data, it's a sector that has a lot of potential and opportunity to grow the pension market. I want to find out from you in terms of what do you propose could be strategies for expanding, the pension coverage to workers in the informal sector, and of course to capture them and in all of this analysis.
Okay, thank you. To target the informal sector, a few years ago, the regulator, of course, promoted the Fund 5, which is the micro-pension. But to date, I'm not sure if they've gained the kind of traction that the industry expects that they would get. You would expect that technology would make it easier to be able to do such things. But when you try to use technology and it fails you, for somebody who doesn't want to do something in the first instance, then it becomes a problem. Now, you and I probably have smartphones. Your contribution goes in every month. You get an alert within 5 days. Maybe every quarter you get a statement. But the informal sector that you're trying to target, either they don't have the smartphone, or somebody gives them a smartphone, they don't have data. This is somebody who is sending you a text message. Please, urgent 2K, send to me. It's money to eat, not necessarily money to, do what you believe that they should be doing. Now, with the USSD platform, it would have made it easier for your organizer, for instance, who wants to contribute 1,000 naira on a daily basis to send that money. But it uses the USSD platform, he sends the money. He doesn't get an alert to say his money has gone in. At the end of the month, maybe they send him a statement, he can't read it. Or maybe the USSD platform fails. What happens? The next month, okay, my money, I didn't get it. He can't go to an ATM, like money enters his bank account where he can say, oh, let me go and put in my card and check whether that money has actually come in. He doesn't get an alert, he doesn't do anything. The next time you come to him, he'll probably tell you, okay, I'm not interested in this. In the one way when I don't chop, don't do. So it is in itself a problem. Now, I understand the industry in itself is trying to do enlightenment. But enlightenment costs money. And of course, you're trying to make money for the people that are contributing. And you're targeting the people that, will probably not give you as much. So you do the Pareto principle, 80-20 rule. Where's most of my money coming from? So yes, enlightenment, either as an industry, enlightenment from the government to encourage people to save for their old ages is important. I think we need to start doing more of that.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. What about designing products for that vulcanizer? Because don't forget that we all know that the large share of our informal markets are uneducated, they can't read and stuff. So how do we build the right products and services for them? Because we can't wait until they're all educated. Yeah. So what is the industry also? Sorry, I'm taking over your moderation. What is the industry doing to ensure that we can build? Because that's where we work in financial inclusion, and we need to crack it. Otherwise, we're just going to continue coming to say, oh, pension contribution is less than 60% of population, etc.
Now, the micro pension was, I would say, targeted at them. But yes, if you're talking to an illiterate in English, half of what you've said, he doesn't understand it. So when I say enlightenment, maybe we need to bring that enlightenment down to their local languages. I don't think that exists yet. Yes, maybe a few PFAs would go to a market and do a storm. So yes, you come with an Igbo-speaking man who will speak with, the Chukwudi who will sell his spare parts. Makes it easier for him to be able to bring money. But then that is a spare part market. Now, maybe with organizers, you can get them together, as a group, maybe during their monthly meetings or quarterly meetings, and talk to them in the language that they understand. But your phone doesn't come in Yoruba. So, well, maybe it does, but if I have to send a USSD, for instance, how many times am I going to have to press 1 button, 2 buttons, 3 buttons, 4 buttons before I can get to making payment? Because I need to select the language first, then I need to select which bank, I need to select which account, and then I need to make that payment. And then I do that payment, and I don't get a response to say that, okay, my account has been credited. So it's going to take a while, but I think that we'll get there, because with financial inclusion, at least with the banks now, we're getting to see better traction. So hopefully we'll get that same traction in the pension space.
Yeah, so, Prof, what will be your final thoughts? I mean, reflecting on what has happened today, the conversations we've had, and of course all the discussions that have happened here.
I think I'm going to speak to what Bismarck said in terms of be careful what you wish for, number one, and the more you look, the less you see. Thank you.
That sounds like a proverb. Okay, careful what you wish for. The more you look, the less you see. Okay, that sounds interesting. Dr. Amona Chinyere, your closing thoughts.
Yeah, I think it's the fact that we need power to power Nigerian economy. And the only way we can get that going is for the stakeholders within the sector to come together to want to make the change. There has to be an intentionality in the right direction. Secondly, we need FDI, yes, but we need to treat domestic investors right. Those who have invested, we need to have the right regulatory framework to enable them, not to destroy them.
Thank you very much. Mr. Femi Shobanjo, closing thoughts, please.
Okay, I think for me, I'll speak on behalf of the capital market, and I think we're very bullish about 2025. We see a lot of good things happening. Look, Nigeria is a population, we have a young population of about 70% of people are under 30. And we see that as a big opportunity to bring them into the market. We also see opportunities in the digital asset space, in the fintech space. And like I said, some of these big companies being listed, the NNPCs, the Dangotes, and just diversifying products. The market has a long way to go to develop, and we're doing a lot of work in that space. So watch out for what we're doing in 2025.
Okay. It sounds like a very positive outlook from the capital markets. Mr. Yemi Sadiku, your closing thoughts. You need a bell to go to Storm. You can use this.
I think my closing thoughts are going to be, or is going to be an advertisement. Now, Femi mentioned opportunities that's out there for people. Now, if there's an opportunity and you can't access it, then what's the essence of that opportunity? Our app, iInvest, is there for everybody to use, to tap into that opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this is a wrap. And let me quickly inform that the materials that have been presented will be circulated to your emails. So do ensure that your emails are registered with the registration desk, or you drop your cards, and that way we are able to contact you. The Parthian Economic Discourse, a series of continuous conversations. And so the conversation doesn't end in this room. We will carry the torch from here, and we will definitely continue to engage with all the critical stakeholders as we think of shaping the narrative for our nation, Nigeria. And of course, with a lot of anticipation and positive outlook, we believe that 2025 will be a good year, and hopefully we will begin to see some prosperity.